Hey guys, it's Sarah. So, my skin has been at a record level of dryness this winter, and I feel like this is the time of year where if you ever do get dry skin, this is where it's at its worst. And I don't know what it is about this winter in particular. I feel like it was brought on when I flew from Seattle to Georgia. Back in December, my lips got so dry, the skin on my face got dry, and it was dry like that for weeks. And so finally I was like, okay, I've got to figure out a skincare and like base makeup routine that does not make my skin look flaky and disgusting because my normal routine just was not working. So I've been on the hunt for some really hydrating products, and I feel like I finally found a prep routine for my base makeup that's really been working for me. So I'm mostly just gonna share a few skincare things and then also like my base makeup routine that I've been doing that I feel like looks good even when my skin is very prone to dryness. So hopefully if you're struggling with dry skin and you're just looking for some really good hydrating products, I hope this video helps. So my skin, I'm actually filming this at night, but we're pretending it's morning, and I have already cleansed my skin. A lot of times what I've been doing lately in the mornings is just splashing my face with water and then patting it dry instead of using any cleanser at all, because I feel like the more I cleanse my skin, the more it just gets stripped of any natural moisture that it has. So, or I'll just use like a very, very gentle hydrating cleanser. So that's been done. The next thing I do is and I've already done this today, so I'm not gonna do it again, but I will apply an AHA toner. The one I'm using right now is the Derma E Radiance Toner with glycolic acid. That's the one I've been using in the mornings, and at night I use a BHA. The next thing I do is apply the e.l.f. Nourishing Facial Oil. This is a really nice oil. I've been using it for a couple weeks now. It's so funny because me in high school would have been disgusted by the thought of ever putting oil on my face because I used to have such oily skin. And I remember back in the day, everything was like oil-free, you know? Everybody was afraid of oil. Everybody thought that oil caused breakouts, and some oils can, but in reality they can be really good, especially if you have dry skin. It just like balancing out your skin and locking in the moisture. So I'll do that first. And I like this oil because it doesn't make my skin look like I've just dumped grease all over it, you know? Like my skin looks very hydrated now, but I don't feel like it looks overly oily. Usually I'll allow like a couple minutes in between each of these steps, just because, I mean, ideally you'd probably wait like 10 minutes between each step of your skincare routine, but who really has time for that? So I'll just wait a couple minutes until I feel like that's kind of sunk in. Then I follow that with a moisturizer. This is also from e.l.f. It's their Holy Hydration Face Cream in the fragrance-free version. It has hyaluronic acid and peptides in it. And I just feel like these two products from e.l.f. have really just kind of quenched my skin's dryness and really just balanced out my skin. Ever since I started using both of these, my skin has been a lot less dry and it just feels more plump and hydrated. So I feel like I can wear it underneath makeup. It's nice and thick and buttery, but it's not so thick that it's gonna sit on top of your skin. I do feel like it really does kind of sink in, and it just seals in that moisture from the oil, or if you used a serum or anything like that, it just kind of locks it in, and oh, it just feels so nice gliding across my skin. I'm so glad they came out with a fragrance-free version of this because I'd been so jealous of all the people who were loving the original Holy Hydration Face Cream, but I didn't want to buy it because of the fragrance. I even take it up under the eyes because I can always use moisture there, and oh, it just feels so nice. Once again, I feel like my skin, it doesn't look crazy greasy or anything like that. It just looks healthy and hydrated. Okay, so then I always wear SPF, always. Even in the winter, you gotta wear it. Sorry, I didn't make the rules. But I use the Krave Beet Shield. Loving this right now. I was almost out of mine, so I just bought 2 more. They weren't even on sale, but I was just like, well, I mean, I can't be without sunscreen, and this is just the best one that I've tried. So it is SPF 50. It's a very lightweight, almost like a fluid, as opposed to like a thick sunscreen. And so I will just get about that much and apply that. I do feel like I need to wear some sort of moisturizer underneath this. Now this doesn't claim to be a moisturizer anyway, So I don't use this as my standalone moisturizer, especially not in the winter time. And this is supposed to be the last step of your skincare routine. I really like this because it's very lightweight. It doesn't smell or feel like sunscreen at all. And it gives a little bit of a glow, but it's nothing, you know, very intense. I feel like even if you have oily skin, the small amount of glow that it gives probably wouldn't bother you. I'll usually apply even just a little bit more after that first layer just to make sure that I got an even coat on my skin. So now that that's on, I'm gonna wait another few minutes before I apply makeup, probably about 10 minutes actually, just because I wanna make sure that sunscreen sets on my skin so that the makeup doesn't mess with it. So next I'm gonna share the base makeup that I like to wear when my skin is particularly dry, but really year round. I feel like this kind of combination always seems to look the most flawless, so maybe I should just stick to this and stop messing around with like heavy duty foundations. But anyway, the first thing I do is I follow up with yet another glowy product, some sort of glowy primer. So the two that I have, honestly, these are really similar. The First Aid Beauty Coconut Skin Smoothie Priming Moisturizer and the CoverGirl Vitalist Go Glow Luminizing Lotion. These are both really similar. They both have a lotion-y feel, and they do have a little bit of a very slight glowy finish to them. So I'm gonna, which one do I wanna use? I'm actually trying to use up both. This one's not in my project pan, but it's almost done. This one is in my project pan. I'll just use the CoverGirl one because it is the more affordable option. So then I will follow that with just whatever base kind of foundation product I want. So it really depends on just how much coverage I'm wanting, but my go-to lately has been the Balm Shelter Tinted Moisturizer by theBalm. Also happens to be in my project pan, but thanks to my project pan I was able to kind of rediscover this product. Love that. And then if I'm wanting a little more coverage, of course, Physicians Formula Healthy Foundation is my standby. It's just so good. Almost more like a BB cream textured than a foundation. And it just always looks so flawless and seamless on my skin. I'm trying to decide which one I want to use today. I'll use the Balm Shelter one just because you maybe haven't seen me use this one as much. And honestly, I feel like even though it doesn't have as much coverage, the end result, I feel like I'm not really missing the coverage because my skin still looks pretty good, you know? It just makes my skin look perfected without really needing any coverage. So there's that. I really like that it lets the glow of the CoverGirl lotion shine through because it doesn't have as much coverage, so it's not just completely masking whatever glow is already on my skin. It just kind of lets my skin breathe, and it lets my skin still look nice and hydrated. And then the concealer that I always go for when I don't want my makeup to emphasize dry skin is the Jordana Take Cover Concealer. This is advertised as a full coverage concealer, but it's really not. It's just very skin-like, and I will just kind of swipe it on. I have the shade Porcelain. Just kind of swipe it on there, and I like to blend it in with my fingers actually, or a sponge, but I feel like with my fingers I get better coverage and I get just as natural of a finish as I would with a sponge. And I love this concealer because it really does have a hydrating feel on the skin, and it just kind of becomes one with my skin. I don't know how else to describe it, but it just, look at how quickly that blended in. Like it like meshed in with my skin so quickly. It doesn't even look like I'm wearing concealer. It looks like I just put on like an eye cream or something, you know? And now my eyes just look a little bit more perfected. Still, you know, it's not full coverage, but if I were to use a full coverage concealer, I would be compromising that really natural finish that I love, so it's a trade-off that I'm willing to make. And then I always have to set my under eyes at least, because I feel like if I don't, my concealer will just crease and move around. I don't know how people don't set their under eyes, I really don't. But the one that I really like, I like using a loose powder because I feel like it just looks more natural. I have the e.l.f. HD powder in Soft Luminance, so it's like the luminous version of their HD powder. And I'm just gonna grab a little bit of that, very light amount, on my e.l.f. small tapered brush. Just dust that on there. Then I think I'm gonna skip powdering the rest of my face. A lot of times I like to do this when my skin is very dry because I don't really need it. And Sometimes my skin just looks better when I leave it alone. And then of course people always tell you if you're having dry skin to reach for cream cheek products as opposed to powder. Just as many cream products as you can use, the better. So I'm gonna use a few of my favorite cream products today. I think I am gonna lightly contour with my Jordana Sculpt and Go Creamy Contour Stick in light. Such a great cool toned contour. I like to use this with a brush. And then this is one I actually haven't reached for in a while. The Flower Blush Balm in Pinched. Such a classic. I will just like squeeze a little bit onto my cheeks. Honestly, I'm just gonna blend this in with my finger. And then I'm just using, any cream highlight is totally fine, but I'm using the Ulta Face Highlighting Color Stick in Pixie Dust. I don't even think you can get this anymore. I think they discontinued it, but it is this really beautiful, very natural looking highlighter. I'm just using my finger for this again. I did add a little bit of that powder right here underneath my contour just to kind of clean it up a little because I felt like it looked a little messy. I just did my brows. The last thing I'm gonna do, and I'm not gonna do any eyeshadow or eye makeup in this video just because I'm about to film another video which is a palette bingo, so this is just a base makeup routine. But the last thing I'm gonna finish everything off with is my Pixie Glow Mist. I love this stuff. Beautiful finishing spray. I use it year round, but it's something that I've been relying on a ton lately because it really just takes away any look of dryness or cakiness. So I'll just do a pretty generous mist of that all over, and that's it. I've also just been loving lip gloss. A lot of these just so happen to be Project Pan items, but honestly it's kind of a coincidence. My NYX Butter Gloss is the one I've been using